There is nothing more reassuring when moving countries than knowing that you have a home already waiting for you when you arrive. One of the first things that will be on your checklist after you've made the commitment to move to Australia is to physically pack up your life and move everything you need to wear. Suffice to say that if you're going on holiday, it's possible to just wing it, but if you're moving for an indefinite period of time, winging it might not cut it, especially when it comes to accommodation. In this video, we'll look at long-term and short-term accommodation in Australia and why planning ahead can make things so much easier when you do finally plant your excited feet on the Australian soil. Hi, I'm Buki Adelaja, and you're watching another episode on the Youenrol channel. Our mission is to make your life easier by being your go-to destination for up-to-date information about studying, living and working in Australia without you having to pay costly consultant fees no matter where you are in the world. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the bell icon so that you don't miss out on our new videos when they are released. The good news is that you have plenty of options to choose from when looking for a place to stay in Australia. At the top of most new residents lists and a good way to introduce you to the city and give you time to decide where you like to permanently call home is arrival or temporary accommodation. This includes hotels, hostels and other traveler options. Other new arrivals prefer to look for short-term accommodation such as a rental property or share house. If you are a student, you can look for somewhere to stay either on or off campus, while those in a more secure financial situation might prefer to look at signing a long-term lease or even buying a home. Each accommodation option has its own benefits and will cater to a different type of new Australian. So if you're wondering which type of accommodation should I look for and how can I find it, then continue to watch this video. Arrival accommodation. Arrival accommodation, as the name suggests, offers somewhere to stay when you first arrive in Australia. The aim is to find somewhere comfortable and convenient to call a base until you find your feet. While staying in arrival accommodation, you can look for work and somewhere more permanent to stay, or you could simply take the time to acclimatize to your new surrounds. The exact type of arrival accommodation you select will largely be influenced by your taste and also your budget. For students or for those with limited finances, a hostel might be the best option to begin with. Australia has an excellent range of hostels to choose from, especially in capital cities, with travelers able to choose from budget options or more premium digs. Another option to consider is a hotel. Once again, there's no shortage of options to choose from. Though many hotels may be out of reach for those with limited finances, if you're looking for an alternative, motels and caravan parks usually offer cheaper rooms, while self-catered apartments and units are also available. While it's important to find somewhere you'll be comfortable in and that will meet your needs, remember that this is only temporary accommodation. You will soon be looking for somewhere more permanent to live. So how can you book arrival accommodation? Booking arrival accommodation can be handled quickly and easily online. There are a large number of accommodation websites that let you book hotels, hostels or apartments in Australia, including sites like Expedia, Hotels.com, Hotels Combined, Airbnb and many more. These accommodation sites are designed to be as simple as possible. All you have to do is search available accommodation options on the dates you're planning to stay in a certain destination. You will then be presented with a range of options which you can browse and then compare in order to find one that best matches your needs. You can book and pay for everything online with your credit card, which will ensure you have somewhere to go as soon as you land in Australia. Alternatively, you can look at homestay accommodation options. Browse those sites to see what arrival accommodation is available to you. Short-term accommodation. For many people moving to Australia, short-term accommodation offers the best solution when they first arrive. This can be a good way to settle into the Australian lifestyle and get to know the country as well as its people, while giving you some time to adapt before you make a long-term or permanent decision about where to live. The first option you might want to look at is renting a property. From units and apartments to small or large houses, you can find rental properties to suit all sizes as well as budgets. Rental costs are obviously influenced by a number of factors, including the size of the residence, its location, is closer to public transport, how old it is, and much more. It's also worth pointing out that the rental market in Australia is quite competitive, particularly in capital cities. You can expect to battle out with plenty of other property hunters and also to pay more than you would otherwise expect. If renting on your own is not a viable option, share house living might be the best approach. Once again, there are typically a stack of share house accommodations options to choose from, particularly in inner city areas or places with high student populations. Of course, you obviously need to be willing to put up with all the highs and lows of sharing a house with strangers, which is sometimes easier said than done. Student accommodation. Those holding a student visa or are here for educational purposes have a number of options available to them. We think it pretty much goes without saying that student accommodation needs to be both affordable and accessible to your nominated educational institution. With this in mind, your first option is pretty obviously on-campus accommodation. The vast majority of Australian universities offer on-campus accommodation options designed for students from overseas or rural-based areas. These options suit a variety of budgets and tastes: shared houses, catered accommodation in dorm rooms, with the added benefit of being located extremely close to or even on your place of study. Another positive about on-campus accommodation is the opportunity it provides you to develop relationships with other students and also build a sense of community. With an emphasis on social activities as well as education, living on campus can be a great way to broaden your horizons. If on-campus accommodation isn't your cup of tea, off-campus living is also a valid option. You can reside in a homestay, which involves being placed with families in nearby homes, or you can choose to live in a privately owned student residence. Many universities also run accommodation databases to help you find off-campus accommodation. Finally, students can choose to rent a property independently rather than taking up student accommodation. The simplest way to begin organizing student accommodation is to go through your university. Most universities have housing officers that specialize in looking after both the on and off-campus accommodation needs of a student. You'll be able to research and compare accommodation options, as well as find out more about the benefits of on-campus living. Applications can be completed online. For those interested in off-campus accommodation, there are also independent agencies that specialize in organizing homestay arrangements. If you want to rent independently, begin your property search on a website like realestate.com.au or domain.com.au. Long-term accommodation. Once you've been in Australia for a while and you decided where you would like to live, it's time to start looking for a long-term accommodation solution. If you're ready to settle down in a particular area, this is typically the most cost-effective option you can take. For some, signing a long-term lease is optimal. This has the advantage of ensuring that you won't be kicked out of your home while your lease is still in force, and that you won't have to struggle with the larger financial commitment of buying a home. But if you're ready to finalize or realize your dream of owning a home, you can start looking to buy a property. The Australian real estate market is quite competitive in some areas, particularly in the major capital cities, so you should be prepared for a lengthy house hunting expedition. It will be worth it, however, once you found that perfect apartment or house and can enjoy the freedom that comes with owning your own home. How to buy a house in Australia as a temporary resident. If you're a temporary resident, you need to jump through a number of hoops to buy property in Australia. To begin with, you must be granted permission from the Foreign Investment Review Board to purchase a property. To do this, you will need to apply to the board for approval, which can take up to 40 days. If you are a permanent resident, however, you find it much easier to buy property in Australia, and you won't require permission from the FIRB to purchase a home. While you can exchange contracts before you receive a FIRB approval, the contract is of course conditional on that approval being granted. Unfortunately, as auction bids can only be made without conditional clauses, this will prevent you from purchasing a house or property at auction. Once contracts have been exchanged and a cooling off period is served, you need to pay a deposit on your home. You probably need to sort out a home loan as well. So, it is important that you've got records of your credit history and financial situation with you. Finding a mortgage with an Australian lender will generally be much easier than seeking financing from a lender back home. To increase your chances of being approved for a home loan, you need to be earning a sufficient regular income to prove that you can manage your ongoing loan repayments. If you don't have a steady stream of income, your chances of being approved for a home loan are slim. Once again, permanent residents will find it much easier to obtain a loan than temporary residents. In addition to your deposit and mortgage, you need to remember that certain fees and taxes apply while buying a property in Australia. As a general rule of thumb, you can expect these costs to add up to roughly 5% of the property's value. You will need to contend with a land transfer registration fee, legal fees, mortgage fees, local taxes, and perhaps even insurance. Other costs can also be incurred via things like strata inspections or termite and pest inspections. One final point to remember is that you need to have any necessary visas and work permits before you can apply or to buy a home in Australia. Residents, temporary residents, migrations and visas are all available, so make sure you have the necessary paperwork before you proceed. Hope you found information in this video useful. Do leave your questions and comments in the comment section below this video. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, click the bell icon to find out when we release new videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.